press the record button, then I'll say, yo, what up? Mighty River joining me. How's it going, man?
Hey there, how's it going?
It's well. Thank you for the support over on Patreon for this deck dog. Is this your first deck dog, correct?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So for you and for everybody else at home, basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna give me the elevator pitch of your awesome Ochaco 3 deck. While you're giving me the pitch, talking about the tactics, strategies that are involved, I'm gonna go in another tab and I'm gonna pull some things into your sideboard, and so we can chat about. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this, turn all these to 2, so that I don't mess with what you got going on.
Oh yeah,
I just put all of those in your deck.
Cool. Oh,
I just put all of those in your deck. First impressions was up here, right? First impressions
had a one of.
One of in the deck.
One of float combo was a one of, and the other 2 were not in the deck.
Okay. Maybe.
No
problem.
problem.
Is a one of, and now I'm gonna put them all on the sideboard. How about that? Sideboard.
Sounds good.
Sideboard. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go. You go ahead and give me the elevator pitch. I'm gonna pull up another screen and listen to you. So hit me with it. What do you got going on with Ochaco 3?
Sounds good. The main idea is to spam a lot of attacks, and it has quite a few attacks that are guarantee momentum, and double jet pummel is almost guaranteed momentum, and most of those attacks are high blocks. So I have 4 infinite potential. It's basically my kill condition is basically try to play a bunch of attacks in a row in a turn, and a lot of them hit pretty hard, and just to with that plus check that Ochaco has, and being able to filter my cards and pull attacks on the fly, which is a little bit how I played Euro, actually. I guess I'm not very original.
Fair.
But which is the other deck I play. That's the idea, is to try to string out attacks, but these one, one of the kill conditions is it's very easy to play 2 or 3 indiscriminate shocks on the same turn in this deck, because I can call for my momentum and shit. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. I have a lot of trouble going second. I'm not sure if it's my play style or, but I have won 70-80% of the time when I go first, and I've won 30% of the time when I go second. It's more drastic than any deck I ever played.
Rough. Okay.
That's why I submitted a specific deck, because I don't really know where the disconnect is. And it might be a playstyle, so I did add the 4 infinite potential. I feel like that's going to be really strong for defense, because I can guarantee myself high blocks, basically.
Right.
Without hindering my offense. That's the idea. I just want it to be a little more defensive, or even just ideas for sideboard cards for when I go second. But that's the gist of the deck. I think I'd like to cut it down a little bit, and I think it has too high of an attack percentage for someone who can filter attacks as I'm blocking on my opponent's turn and scald my hand while I block.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think it could, just to check better, she gives bonuses to checks. The other thing is, trading with Gunhead has been freaking amazing. There's so many bonus checks that it's 1 speed to almost every attack, which is freaking fantastic. So I want to keep that up for. That's the gist. That's the elevator pitch. That's what I got so far.
Okay. I dig it. Let's talk about the attack lineup, because I think your attack lineup is really interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and just refresh the page, because I didn't have a ton that I wanted to add, because you got a lot of one ofs or 2 ofs of just a lot of different options. Your deck is so diverse.
I cut it down. I actually did cut it down for the physical deck I made, and I played a couple of times, but I wanted to keep it. I'm not super happy with the way I cut it down, so I just submitted the big version.
Okay.
Long-lasting explosion is really fun if I play double jet pummel afterwards. That's more just friggin' fun. Who wants to block that 8 damage attack? Yeah. It's also really good with frog lashing, but that is one of the cards I cut. Float combo is in there as just kind of a cheeky one. I took out a 0 grab lift for the float combo. Basically, it's kind of cheeky, I can. It's just a little bit of a different attack that I can put in my hand if I see a different way to win on my kill turn, but I haven't really used it for that. But that's why that's in there as a one of.
Okay.
And the AFG Driver is sick. I can only fit 1 in the deck, but 1 or 2 of those has been really good to play as my last attack. So that's kind of what my head is at with the attack lineup, but it is definitely scattered.
Hit me with Pillow Swing. Why are you digging Pillow Swing?
Just so the only reason is, well, Pillar Swing and Indiscriminate Shock is pretty badass. I'll try not to swear so much.
You're good. You're good. I do not care. I do not make content for kids. Swear
Okay,
away.
sounds good. It's a guaranteed momentum if they don't wall cling. So it's like and it's a low block. So all my other guaranteed momentum is high blocks, just to have like I can play this. It's just an attack I can guarantee to play and still get to pick up and block low if I feel like that's what I need to pick up on defense.
Okay.
So that's the reason. Yeah, I think it's valid. I'm not sure it's worth having the 6 check in the deck because I don't have too much for lowering check. Well, I mean, my character does.
Your character does. You've got things like first day of class.
Yeah.
You've got things like double jab pummel, right? Being able to play double jab pummel as your second move and say -2 to your next check says that this thing's actually just on the 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so first and foremost, Ochaco 2's best kill card, in my opinion, is Airstream Driver. I think that this card, in conjunction with Indiscriminate Shock, says that you're just going to murder people. So if I can, I want to like 3x this, 3x this.
Okay. Ochaco, you said Ochaco 2. You might not.
I'm so sorry.
Right?
Ochaco 3. I'm so sorry.
You're not building with a different character. I'd be like, that would be faster.
To the point where I don't think you need Pillar Swing. I don't think you need it. Yeah.
I'm down. Like, I'm down for that. I actually haven't loved having it in my hand. Like, it's not. Yeah. So I'm completely about that.
Yeah, it hits like just as hard. It will trigger our character to make them block because I mean it's 6 damage, right? And if they do block, right, you just get to punish them for a 6 high for 9. That like being able to play Airstream Driver after the pummel. Like imagine this world you live in, right? Long lasting explosion. It doesn't get blocked because we can't trigger our character into double jab pummel. Okay, well now it's an 8 damage move. They have to block. Okay, Airstream Driver is coming in for that same 9. So I got to draw 3, discard 3, plus 3 to my check. This Airstream Driver is free. Like that 3-card combo threatens 15 damage. And that's if they fully block the double jab pummel, which we're assuming they do. This thing's slow as hell, right?
Yeah.
Like this card is so good on that offense. I think just as much or in a different way than Indiscriminate Shock does, where Pillar Swing is like an opener. But in Ochaco, every card's an opener. Every card's an opener. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to cut Pillar Swing with your permission.
And the one thing I was having trouble with is there's hardly any mid blocks in this deck, which is the first time that's ever happened to me.
I swear this never happens. I love it. Yeah, let's toss Pillar Swing. It's gone. Pillar Swing not worth it in this deck. And I want to put this Airstream all the way up to a 3 of.
Cool.
If you feel like you're missing your opener, right? I would maybe suggest putting 1 back in, but like this card, people have to block this. They don't want to block this, right?
Yeah, and like there's a lot of openers on it too. And the thing is, when I open with it, and one thing that has sucked is I open with Pillar Swing, someone completely blocks it, it goes for momentum, and then I don't have a charge attack for my double jab pummel to play the string I wanted.
Right.
100%. So I think there's a lot of reasons. I'm definitely super down for that.
Yeah. I want to go back to float combo. You said you haven't tested this card very much?
Yeah, so I put it in there just to see if it's something I would want to like. It's an alternative, like, it's just like an alternative thing that I can pick up with my character when my turn starts. Is like, oh, you know what? I don't need speed this turn. I'd like a damage that has a 6. I like 6 damage as my a stronger damage attack or some shit like that.
Right.
I haven't wanted to pick it up, is what I was saying. So I think it's probably a good one to cut or change it back into throw or something, or just cut
zero gravity, right?
Yeah. It's got a better block and it serves a little bit of different purpose, but I think I'd rather just have zero gravity.
I think zero gravity is just the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're still at 22, which feels good. How do you feel about Frog Lashing?
It is. I'm trying to remember because I played two kind of similar decks. One was on Chaos. I love Frog Lashing is my favorite attack. It's also a mid block with Breaker, and I don't have good mid blocks.
Right.
I think the problem I had was there's not enough foundations that flip themselves, that I wasn't getting super good use out of it.
Right.
The idea is that I can play it. Is that it helps me extend long change, right? Because it's basically a 3 diff. If you like.
Right. 100%. If they choose not to block.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It just helps me extend long change. It's something that my opponent wants to block because it's coming in for like 6 to 10 damage. But I just don't feel like I had enough foundations that flip themselves at will, that I wasn't getting it past 8 damage. So that's where I'm at on it. Is like maybe a 2 of, maybe just cut it. It's just my favorite attack, so I put it in every deck I can because I'm like that.
Fair, 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 fair. My big thing is it doesn't have the charge keyword. So if you find this in
Mhm.
double jab, like what do you do, right?
Yeah, it is. It hasn't messed me up yet, but I definitely see that. And like low combo doesn't have the charge either. And I don't want to lead off with frog lashing in the first place, but maybe
Right.
that means I have too many attacks I don't want to lead off with, which is a separate problem.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
I don't want
like
to lead off with extreme, don't want to lead off with double jab, don't want to lead off with frog lashing. So where does that kind of leave me in a lot of hands?
so if you're willing to sacrifice a bit of mid block consistency, we can either
Mhm.
make it into long lasting explosion, or we could take and make it amplified sound blast. Amplified Sound Blast is, I'll just put it in our sideboard real fast. Amplified Sound Blast
Mhm.
is the flash move, which is
Yeah.
like crazy cool in this Ochaco deck because it's just going to help that difficulty even more. It doesn't help with training with Gunhead because it says your check and this does difficulty. So this does the top left number, not the bottom right number.
Yeah.
But like our abilities are responses, not enhances.
Yeah. It
So
lets me
like,
play this as my fourth attack or whatever, or Airstream Driver or something. Like, yeah,
right.
I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
It is also, it's a 4 diff instead of the 5 diff, so it's better if you don't have the face downs. So like this could easily, we could turn this into double long lasting and then
Mhm.
double amplified and just cut the frog lashings. And we've
Yeah, I'm down.
not technically lost any mid blocks. They're worse mid blocks
Yeah.
by far. They're worse, but like I think that we are okay. I also think we could take Electric Jolt and put it down to a 3 of.
I'd rather definitely lose the throw, just from my
Oh,
experience. Just
okay.
playing a jolt, committing one of their foundations and picking it up on my turn again has been really strong. So I'd rather lose the throw.
Totally, totally,
Um,
totally. I'm in. I'm in.
Also, because I'm picking these up for blocks too, so there's a lot of cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. And yeah, and like if I don't know if there's, it's pretty good. Maybe end up cutting like an indiscriminate shock or something.
Down to 3?
I'd like
I don't think that's a
yeah,
terrible idea, honestly.
yeah. As much as having 2 of them in a turn is good. I think that might be the move, just because I want to cut my attacks, and there's nothing. I'm like looking at this, like there's nothing else I want to cut. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I like the look of that a lot better.
Yeah. I'm thinking. Man,
No
I really
problem.
like long lasting in this deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
long
can
lasting
go
in a
and
pummel says that you have to block the pummel. You're just not allowed to not.
yup,
It
it's yeah, it's
yeah.
fantastic.
Which is just
I,
gonna make
I
Airstream Driver and Indiscriminate like hit harder. The only thing is we gotta make this fast. That's like my biggest issue. Which like
long lasting
maybe that's like first impressions job
to make what fast?
to make the pummel fast.
Yeah, that could definitely be yeah. Because if you do first impressions with long lasting, now people are gonna block the 9 damage long lasting.
Yeah.
Then you have a 6 mid for they already use a mid block. Then they got a 6 mid for 8 coming at them.
Right.
That seems strong.
With just already having the +2 to your check, whether they block it or not, and then the
Yeah,
driver
yeah.
has to come down,
Mm-hmm.
or driver or the vault. That seems cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm down for that.
Okay, so I think we're good on attacks. Do you know how low we're trying to make the deck? Because right now you're literally 1 card over theory. So theory says that you should play 1/3 of your deck be attacks, and so you're at
Yeah,
61.
I think we cut to attacks, right, total.
Right.
I'd cut. I mean, I'm down to stay at 61 or go to like 60, 59 at the lowest at this point. Yeah, I guess like attacks were the main thing I think we needed to cut, just because the attack ratio was like really high for a deck that sifts through attacks for attacks really easy.
100%.
So I think it's thin enough. Like if we lost to foundation, like that wouldn't be the worst, but I think it's pretty close to where I'd like it.
How you feel about earphone jack?
I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. It's a good high block, and I have the infinite potential in this. I'm down. What would you do? Like a 1 of?
I'd probably play, honestly, like if this was my deck, I'd be playing 3 of it.
Okay.
Because of how much you like trending with Gunhead. Imagine a world
Mm-hmm.
where you have 2 speed on everything.
That's actually pretty sick. So this is weird. I've never played Earphone Jack without an Unwavering Slash in the deck. It's so I'm like I always feel weird playing it. I feel like I'm like jipping myself when I play it just normal, without building it for free. So I typically don't think to include it in stuff, but Obviously, it performs well at a lot of tournaments, so it's obviously a good card.
Actually, I'd cut it down to 2. I think that's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you some hard questions about some foundations.
Sure.
What is this card doing in here?
Which card?
Encouragement.
Okay. So encouragement is a fun test that I haven't got to test yet. So fun. It just encourages them to block my attacks, and I love when people block my attacks.
Okay.
It's just a cheeky, fun thing, and I needed mid blocks. I don't think it's good, and probably would take it out. But that's the reason that's in there. I wanted to see if it makes people block attacks they wouldn't normally block. It does not, by the way. The answer is no.
Yeah, I think without it like being useful offensively, I don't know if I love this card in here, right? Like if we had, Yeah, I just don't like we're not playing things to pick up the attack that we're discarding, like specialized sound waves. If we were playing that card, I think I'd be like hella in, but I mean we're not, right?
Right.
Speaking of which, if you did want to play something crazy, I think specialized sound waves would be insane in your deck instead of this amplified sound blast. But like it's a 2-check. I don't know how much you care about that.
I have to redo my foundation a lot. Like personally, I add a lot more 1-diff foundations when I run my 2-checks.
Right.
I don't think I want to do that because there's too many good 3 and 4-diff foundations that I think the deck needs.
Sure.
So I would probably avoid it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Maybe one day, but yeah, we can cut encouragement.
Yeah, I think encouragement's gone, and then you got a lot of interesting choices like a Singleton Confused. Scientists argue that this is the best foundation in set 2.
Yep. There's one in the main. I have 2 in the sideboard.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I kind of think of it as like 2 wall clings and 1 confuse in the main board, and then 2 confuse and 1 wall cling on the sideboard. Do you think it's consistent? If I'm not sure it's good, consistent enough to main board more than 1, but I just haven't had a lot of experience with the card itself.
Sure. So the big thing about Confused is it takes off weird keywords that interact with people's decks, right? So like it could take off let's say that you've got a card that's like your charge attack gets 1 damage or whatever as like an enhance. You could just confuse and take off the charge keyword before they do that. Or if versus your own deck, right? You do anything that's not this combo enhance first, Confuse just takes off the combo keyword. And then like you just
can take off
lose it.
combo keyword?
Yeah, you can take off any keyword, my guy.
Okay, yeah, no, for some reason I didn't think about combo keyword. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. You can take off keyword traits and keyword abilities, and that's why I think this card is so nuts, right? Like you have Midoriya that's like playing a move, and they opt to draw before they do whatever, and you just like snap the punch keyword off their card, and you look at them and go, "Were you gonna discard a card? That's not gonna get +1/+3. Sorry about it."
That's okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not about that. Wouldn't it just be where the opponent just uses those abilities first? 9 times out of 10. I know some scenarios they have to do a specific order, but
so that's where you railroad them and force them to do specific things, right?
Okay.
And so first off, it's amazing versus throws, right? It's 2/5 pseudo throw hate because they can strip that keyword. But then the other thing is like if they have abilities that they care about beforehand, or they have first enhances, or they have whatever, you then get to just confuse them and tell them to stop, right?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I think this card's really, really good. I actually let's just go to block zones and we'll just run through it, right? So like I love Confused, I love Wall Cling, I think Release is great. I'm not very high on Infinite Potential, but because of how many high blocks that you have here, I can see it. I kind of want to cut it down to 3, just because like the card's like pseudo blank, right? Like the card does like one really specific job.
So with the fact that I can have a high block whenever I want in this deck because of Jolt, Grav Lift, and Double Jab Pummel, I think it's really strong for I think it's really strong in this specific deck for finding because I don't have to happen to have a high block for it to be good. I always am gonna have a high block basically.
Right.
So it's almost like Tate basically.
Okay.
So that's I kind of want to keep it at 4 for a while. If I find it's sit in my stage, I'll cut it down in the future.
11, 12, 13. How many high blocks are we playing overall? 23? Man. You're right. Your mids are surprisingly low. It's weird.
Yeah.
How do you feel about ambush tactics?
It was ambush tactics. It's the one. It was. Oh, was it still in there? I thought it was. No.
I
Yeah, ambush
might
tactics.
have accidentally cut it.
Yeah,
Or I
yeah,
might have
you
accidentally
definitely.
added it.
It was in there. I cut it out. Like it was in there. Like
It's gone.
I kind of cut it when I was trying to make the deck smaller in the first edition, but I didn't like the idea of like I'm gonna make my double jet pummels zero speed, and you still don't want to block it, and then I'll make my airstream driver, a 8 speed attack. I do like it, and I guess it helps my mid block problem as well.
How do you feel about encouraging training partner?
I like it. It's good defense and it's good with indiscriminate shock. I make other people's airstream drivers 4 speed. That's pretty nice. I'm generally a big fan. I want to keep at least one in the deck, and
that's where I'm at. I want to put it to 1. I'm going to put Tiaki Fanatic to 2. I think this card's so crazy, man. I think this card is the reason that I'm going to hate the air symbol next set, or this format. Just having a cancel an asset or foundation ability on a foundation is just so good. It's also crazy deadlock hate, right? Like we get some real cheap pokes in, and we're constantly berating them with attack. Become the 7-hand size character, have a grip of moves, and then just like strip 2 cards out of their hand. Insane. So good. So good.
Yeah, I actually have 2 in the paper version of the deck, but so I definitely agree with that scenario. I thought there was 2 in this, so yes, my answer is yes.
What's up with fusion?
Speed hate. I'm just trying to find like where I can get better defense because I kept dying going second pretty fast.
Fair.
It's a 2 mid block, it's a spam, and it helps me in defense. That's what's up with fusion.
Love it. Love it. And you think, so explain to me how you're dying. Like you're not able to defend yourself because things are too fast. Like it sounds like that's an issue. Could that be like the characters you're fighting, or is that like what? Give me some more details besides like I'm dying on going second.
Yeah, I think it was if I'm trying to like I think kind of 2 decks that are very similar, so I want to try to separate them in my head. But I think it was a little bit where like my block mods were a little high, so I was dying to like high speed attacks for the most part. I was dying to not having the right block mods, which is why I added the and that's when I added the infinite potential. I haven't played since I added infinite potential.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like I was having the wrong block mods, and when I did, I'm like, oh, these +3 things, and they like Bakugo 2 was one of the decks I lost to a lot. I know he's super aggressive.
Yeah.
I was losing to any like fast decks or decks that are playing like a lot of spam or just a lot of attacks in a turn. I would be like, okay, I can block like 1 or 2, and then you're hitting me pretty hard. Is what was tended to happen.
Right.
Which, like I said, I think it might be a little bit play style, but I'd like to see what I can do to correct it in my deck as well.
Because part of the thing that Ochaco gets to do, right, is like after an attack is blocked, that includes you. Like when you block, right, you get to draw 1, discard 1, get +1 to your check. That says their attack essentially gets -1 speed that they can't mess with. And so you should be able to, as long as you have enough foundations ready and like 3 cards in your hand, you probably can block anything that your opponent throws at you. It might be us. We're trying to go too hard in the paint on our turn, and we're like leaving ourselves in a weak position. Obviously, I haven't seen any of your gameplay. I'm speculating here.
I think that might be what it is because I get real like. I think when I have like double jet pummel in hand, I tell myself like I gotta play 3 attacks this turn,
right?
To take advantage of this, and then I think that's part of what I think that is part of it is going a little bit too hard, which works very well for me when I'm going first, but when I'm going second, I think that's why is a little bit. I think it might be just a little bit of a play issue.
Yeah.
So I think that might be it, and that's why I cut double jet pummel down to from a 4 to a 3 because I was just finding myself like. It's not always a good idea to go 3 attacks deep, and the card is bad if I don't go 3 attacks deep.
Last card I really want to talk about is Destined for Mainstream Success. I think this card is so exceptionally important on defense of like clearing your top check and making sure that it's a 5, or saying that it's not going to be a 3. You just name attack and then just rip it off the top.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you more blocks in your hand, and your blocks are good, right? They're good enough, right? Like your worst block is this 3 mid. Everything else is pretty juicy. Every zero gravity lift, we're just gonna windmill slam because like it's great. No Chaco, just pick it up on our turn.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is the one card that we probably don't windmill slam, but like all of this like looks good, looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would maybe see about putting this up to a 4 of because it helps on both offense and defense.
The reason, so it's a weird reason why it's not, is that I found the card is significantly worse in Ochaco 3 than in any other deck that I played it with, at least.
Mm-hmm.
For the purpose of, if I use it on my turn on offense and there's a foundation on top, my opponent gets like free reign to block my attack where they might not normally. Because if there's a foundation on top, they're like, okay, like I know I'm not going to put attack in their hand when I block this, and they get +1 to their check, but I'm moving a foundation off the top of their deck.
Right.
Otherwise, I could just not respond, which is also bad for me. And on defense, it shows the top card of my deck to my opponent, and they know what block bot I'm picking up.
Interesting.
But I feel like it might not. It still might be good at a 4 of, especially because I need mid blocks.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Because even like the best thing about Ochaco's +1 of the check is like when you oops a daisy an attack, it's not a 3, it's a 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like turning your 5s into 6s is like gravy. Like that feels great.
Yeah.
But like playing your double jab pummel on the like you play your airstream driver, your jolter, your whatever, and then you just like look at the top card and you go, oh, I know that this is going to be a foundation because I've destined. Now my double jab pummel passes. Like there's nothing they can do about it. I don't need to respond. I've guaranteed my thing. I just don't need to. I don't need to take that risk. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of times with Ochaco 3 that like I'm only responding because I'm afraid that there's an attack on top, right?
Yeah,
because I don't want to check it. But like if I can guarantee check that 5, like I mean that's guarantee check the 5 is way better than maybe check the 6.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah, I could see that going up.
It's either that or like requesting, right? Requesting could easily go up, just like slam 2 moves that are going to go to momentum, and now you've got a ton of foundations on defense.
Requesting has been really underperforming because I have to keep momentum to use it, and I want to pick my momentum up to block with. So it's been really blank for my games so far. So, but I put Destin up to a 4 for sure.
Okay, let's do that, and then I think we have a deck to run with. Here's what I want out of your testing though. Okay, so look at our quantities. We do have a lot of ones here. And we got ones that I think are like really good. Like Confused, I think I think Confused is better than Charged Up, personally. I think that this Disruption is better than this Disruption because this Disruption does not lose a card. This Disruption does. The only thing that we want to do is we want to slam Electric Jolt in so that we can actually disrupt our opponent. Otherwise, we can just raw draw our attacks. Like you're playing the game regularly, right? Lose a foundation to find a specific attack, unless that attack is like going to kill them, like Zero Grav. I don't think that the Charged Up is worth it. I would probably swap these numbers.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I think my swapping for now. I've been mainly using Charged Up to be like, oh, I think I need a low block, and I'm going to slam an Airstream Driver in my momentum and pick it up when my opponent's turn starts, which is pretty sick.
That is really aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if I don't need the one low block, obviously I get to attack with it. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'm down for switching that.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch them, and then I bet you're gonna tell me that you don't miss the card. I do think it's cool to have in here, right? I can tell you in my air decks, I'm probably gonna be taking Charged Up out like completely. It's just not a card I need anymore. Yeah.
I feel that. I've most of my decks, my chaos or my air decks, have been like, I had 3, now I have 2, now I have 1 or 2.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely feel that, and I think you're right. Confused has so much versatility.
Right.
And it saves me a sideboard slot.
Yeah, for sure. The only other card that I haven't talked about is this Latent Skill, but it's just a good ass card, right? It could be the one of to help you dig a little deeper, and find specific block modifiers. But like it could just be the one of replace for Charged Up. But I think Charged Up is probably better in this situation because it does have that niche tool of picking up a specific tool.
Yeah. My character does what Latent Skill does, and it can't be Taiyaki Fanatic. That's my theory on why it's not in the deck.
Right.
but I could definitely, if I'm having trouble finding what I need, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
For sure. For sure. Is there anything about this deck you vehemently disagree with? Anything you hate?
No, I kind of told you as we were going, like, keep 4 infinite potential and all that stuff. So now, I'm good. I like it the way it is. I think it
Yeah.
looks a lot smoother than when I submitted it.
I think this is a good. I think it's a good spot to be. Don't fight mid decks. Don't fight mid decks.
Don't, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we actually went down a number.
We did go down a number, but
That's hilarious.
I think that we will be okay. Just gotta play smart, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, thank you for the support on Patreon. I appreciate it. Let me keep you on the line long enough to send the list. We'll catch you next time, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Peace.